Yeah, I know you guys, and you're having fun too, right? Yes. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Just, sit back.
You're on chair.
Oh, good. Good evening. I will now call to order the October 14, 2021 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting. Gary, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair Smith, thank you. First, our staff support tonight, Shannon Bays, Clerk to the Board, Stephen Madcore, County Counsel. Roll call on Zoom, Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
In the room, Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here. I will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Commissioner Schrader is joining us on Zoom. Hi, Martha, thank you. She's also at the National Association of Counties Conference. That's why she is viewing us remotely today, representing Clackamas County at a very important meeting. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. As always, the public is welcome to sign up to testify. Registration for public comment will close at 5 minutes past 6. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public that Robert's Rules of Order will be enforced during this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. Gary, would you please introduce the first item?
Yes, Chair Smith. First, we have COVID-19 updates. Philip Mason Joyner, Public Health Director, will present. He is on Zoom tonight, and Shannon will bring him in here. Just a moment, please.
So sorry. There he is.
Good evening, Chair Smith and Commissioners. To be here tonight to provide the COVID-19 update. And Shannon, if you could please get the slideshow. Thank you. Next slide. To begin, here is our weekly update on current case counts and death data in Clackamas County and the region. Over the past week, Clackamas County has seen 580 additional cases and 13 deaths. Multnomah County, a little over 900 cases and 16 deaths. And in Washington County, 786 cases and 17 deaths. Next slide, please. Our weekly trend continues to move in a good direction. Our case counts in Clackamas County have decreased about 14%, down to 597. So that is terrific news to see it continuing to move in this direction, and we hope that it can continue. Next slide, please. Hospitalizations also continue to decline, which is great news for our healthcare workers and hospitals. Currently, 221 COVID positive patients are hospitalized in Oregon. This includes 26 ICU adult beds that are available out of 362. And in terms of pediatric hospitalizations, which are individuals who are age 0 to 18, that has just increased slightly in the month of September. Currently 10 young people hospitalized with COVID-19 across the state of Oregon overall. For vaccinations, we continue to make progress in terms of our vaccination rates. For Clackamas County, we are at 74.5% of adults age 18 and older that have received at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, compared to the state that is just over 76%. In Clackamas County, here in our community, we have provided over 6,500 doses of the vaccine. This includes first dose, second dose, third dose, and boosters. So it's been busy at the pharmacies, and it's been busy at our community clinics across the county the past week. There was a lot of questions about testing last week. We did provide that in the weekly COVID report that is posted online and was sent to all the commissioners. The different types of tests, how effective how do they work? A lot of that detailed information is available in the board report, and I really want to encourage folks to hop online and check that out. Testing continues to be significant demand. We are really encouraging anyone that has COVID-like symptoms to get tested. Anyone who's been in close contact with someone who's had COVID, because we know it is spreading in the community, you should get tested around 3 to 5 days after you've been exposed. And then at-home tests continue to be more and more popular, people seeking those out. We do want to encourage that anybody who has used one of those at-home tests, have tested positive, that if you test positive with that home test, we do encourage you to go and seek out one of those laboratory confirmed tests from a healthcare professional. Please visit our website for more information. I do want to, a new slide for this week. I really want to recognize our behavioral health team here at Clackamas County. They continue to be amazing partners in our efforts around our outreach and vaccine clinics. They're consistently at our vaccine clinics. We know that the community is continuing to struggle, and this free service is so valued to provide the emotional support and provide behavioral health resources for our community. This is a free service available countywide. They are mobile, they are out in the community, and they are available. So if folks who are listening, if you have an event and think that this type of support and service would be of value to any of the work that you're doing out in Clackamas County, really want to encourage you to give them a call or email them at safestrong@clackamas.us. And then my final slide for tonight, we continue to have vaccine clinics available across the county. We did receive word from the state that our equity progress report was approved by the governor's office today, which provides us with some additional funding, which will continue our efforts to make the vaccine available across the county available. That's great news. Also, our mobile teams that are available to come to businesses or to events. And really want to encourage folks to email covidvaccine@clackamas.us or call our call center at 503-655-8224. We did see a significant, the highest number of deaths from COVID-19 in September. It was, a blend of about half and half vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. The folks that were vaccinated, it was primarily vast majority of those individuals were over the age of 70 years old. We saw that, we're seeing that the booster shots are really important for older adults. So really want to encourage folks who are 65 and older. There is concern that as we age, our immune response does go down. So really want to encourage you to get that booster shot. The vaccine's available in the community, pharmacies, clinics, you name it. Really want to encourage folks to take action as soon as possible. And that is my report for tonight. Thank you so much.
Commissioners, do we have any comments for Philip? Philip, I want to thank you and your staff for the fine outreach work you've done in offering vaccinations for those who choose to be vaccinated, and that's why we were able to receive the additional allocation from the state of Oregon. I think it was a metric involved once you reach a certain percentage and show that we're able to get out in our areas where they're underserved and provide an opportunity to do that. So you kind of glossed over that, but I wanted to say thank you for that and kudos for a job well done.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the public health staff are working very, very hard to make the vaccine available. Thank you.
We have. And any more comments for Philip on this particular topic? Thank you, Philip, for coming. I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as a housing authority. Gary, would you please introduce the first item?
Yes, Chair Smith. Next is the Housing Authority Consent Agenda. Housing Commissioner Ann Leenstra has joined the meeting. She is on Zoom. Channon Would you please read the Housing Authority consent agenda by title only?
I will. Approval to execute a construction contract between the Housing Authority of Clackamas County and A1 Quality Construction for scattered site roof project number 21001, not to exceed $163,120, funded through Housing and Urban Development Federal Capital Grant Funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval to execute a contract between the Housing Authority of Clackamas County and Clackamas Women's Services to provide supportive housing case management and housing navigation and placement services. Total contract value is $298,549, funded through Supportive Housing Services Program funding. No county general funds are involved. Approval to execute contract between Housing Authority of Clackamas County and Greater New Hope Family Services, LLC, to provide supportive housing case management and housing navigation and placement services. Total contract value is $566,100, funded through Supportive Housing Services Program funding. No county general funds are involved. Approval to execute contract between Housing Authority of Clackamas County and Northwest Family Services to provide supportive housing case management, housing navigation and placement, and short-term rental assistance services. Total contract value is $900,156, funded through Supportive Housing Services Program funding. No county general funds are involved. That is the end of my list.
Thank you, Chan, and I will now accept a motion from Ann Leenstra.
And you'll need to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as read.
I second.
The motion has been made by Ann Leenstra to accept the Housing Authority consent agenda and seconded by Martha Schrader. Any further discussion on this item?
Yes, Chair, I just want to point out that as I add up some of these numbers here, about $1.7 million of these supportive housing services dollars in these contracts are from money borrowed from Metro. Thank you, Metro, for the loan, basically, or the advance. But I just want to point out that the receipts to date from the housing measure has been $414,000.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Savas. I think that's a very poignant observation, especially regarding the discussions we've been having about how we are going to execute our housing with our homeless situation, with monies that yet have not arrived. Any other comments? Seeing none, Shannon, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Leenstra?
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 6-0. I will now adjourn as a Housing Authority Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you, Chair Smith, and thank you to Housing Commissioner Leenstra for being with us today. Next is the regular consent agenda. Shannon, will you please read the consent agenda?
Health, Housing, and Human Services. Oh, am I sharing my screen?
Yes, but it's
Right.
on the...
Approval of Amendment Number 1 to an intergovernmental agreement with the University of Wyoming, Wyoming Survey and Analysis Center for data collection addressing the abuse of opioids, so sorry. In Clackamas County, Amendment Number 1 adds $50,000 for a total contract value of $150,000, funded through the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. No county general funds are involved. Approval to apply for funding opportunity with CARE Oregon for CARE Oregon Integrated Behavioral Health Model Funds. Award amount will be up to $30,000. No matching funds required. Funding is through CARE Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Gladstone School District to provide evidence-based parenting education classes. Maximum agreement value is $23,200. Funded through Oregon Community Foundation. No county general funds are involved. Approval to apply for funding opportunity OHA RFA 5250 with Oregon Health Authority for elimination of behavioral health inequities funds. Award amount will be up to $50,000. No matching funds required. Funding is through Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Approval of Amendment Number 1 to Personal Services Contract Number 8132 with Genoa Healthcare LLC for telepsychiatry services. Amendment Number 1 adds $75,000 for a total not to exceed of $200,000. Funding is through Health Centers Fee for Services. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a subrecipient agreement with Northwest Housing Alternatives to provide homeless shelter services. Grant funds of $50,000 funded through Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grants. No county general funds are involved. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Trail School District Number 46 for facility use. Contract not to exceed $18,000 for 1 year. Funding is through Health Center Clinics Fee for Services Revenue. No county general funds are involved. Approval of the intergovernmental agreement with Oregon Health Sciences University and Clackamas County as the local public health authority to provide COVID-19 testing for vulnerable populations within congregate settings. Contract value is $50,000. Funding is provided by the state of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of Amendment Number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon and Clackamas County as the local public health authority for Clackamas County for the provision of public health-related services. Amendment Number 1 adds $813,565 for a new total not to exceed value of $3,612,838. Funding is provided by the state of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a contract with the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon for overdose recovery services. Maximum contract value not to exceed $295,901. Funding through the state of Oregon Community Mental Health Program funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a contract with North American Mental Illness Clackamas for adult peer delivered services, community education, contract maximum value not to exceed $200,828. Funding through State of Oregon, Oregon Health Plan funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a contract with the Living Room for after-school drop-in for LGBTQI+ youth and young adults. Maximum contract value not to exceed $414,386. Funding through State of Oregon, Oregon Health Plan funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a contract with the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon for older adult peer-delivered services. Maximum contract value not to exceed $295,901. Funding through State of Oregon, Community Mental Health Program funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of Amendment Number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon and Clackamas County as the local public health authority. Amendment Number 2 adds $12,584 for overdose prevention services, bringing contract not to exceed value to $3,625,422. Funding is provided by the state of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of application to Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs for the annual allocation of County Veterans Service Office operational funds in the amount of $278,321. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a contract with Folk Time, Inc. for mobile crisis team services. Contract maximum value not to exceed $518,949. Funding through State of Oregon Community Mental Health Program funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of local subrecipient grant agreement with Clackamas County Children's Commission to provide evidence-based parenting education classes in Clackamas County. Agreement maximum value is $15,200, funded through Oregon Community Foundation and Oregon State University. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a federal subrecipient grant amendment number 2 with Northwest Family Services to continue service delivery of the Rural Opioid Prevention and Early Screening Program in Clackamas County. Amendment number 2 adds $95,000 for a new total award amount of $284,360.51. Funded through the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. No county general funds are involved. Approval of Amendment Number 1 to intergovernmental agreement with Oregon Health Authority for COVID-19 vaccination operations. Amendment Number 1 adds $800,000 for a new contract not to exceed value of $1 $1,800,000. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Approval of a cooperation agreement with Clackamas Volunteers in Medicine to fund a portion of the construction expenses for the Clackamas Community College Health Clinic program in Oregon City. Agreement provides funding of $650,000 funded through Community Development Block Grant CARES Act funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval to accept funding from Health Resources and Services Administration for American Rescue Plan Health Center construction and capital investment for equipment costs of the Sandy Health Center. Funding agreement is for $700,134. No county general funds are involved. Approval of amendment number 02 to a subrecipient agreement with Columbia Care Services, Inc. for residential treatment services. Amendment extends the term of the agreement 3 months to December 31, 2021, with no change to agreement cost. Agreement is funded through the State of Oregon Community Mental Health Program funds. No county general funds are involved. Approval of the intergovernmental agreement with Portland State University for trauma-informed care training and consultation. Maximum agreement value is $6,700. Funding through Behavioral Health Fund balance. No county general funds are involved. Transportation and Development. Approval to amend the Safe Routes to School intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation to construct a new crosswalk at Southeast Fuller Road and Southeast Causey Avenue. This amendment adds additional 7 months to complete the project. There is no fiscal impact. The total cost of the project remains $185,588, funded through the ODOT grant award and the road fund. No county general funds are involved. Finance Department. Approval of the Clackamas County signage on county property policy, no financial impact. Approval of the Clackamas County identification and access badge issuance policy, no financial impact. Would you mind reading the elected
Yes.
officials?
Elected officials, approval of previous business meeting minutes, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for the Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program. Total project cost is $25,000, including a 14.99% matching fund requirement. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office will be reimbursed a maximum of $21,252.50 funded by a federal pass-through through the Oregon Department of Transportation. Match funded through the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office budgeted county general funds. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for the traffic patrol and law enforcement for work zones. Agreement value is $400,000 funded through the Oregon Department of Transportation. No county general funds are involved. County Administration, approval of a funding agreement between Clackamas County and the Regional Arts and Culture Council. Total agreement value is $62,050, funded through budgeted county general funds. Business and Community Services, approval of a contract with Baker & Taylor, LLC for book and digital media purchasing and processing services for the Oak Lodge and Gladstone libraries. Total contract value is $795,000, funded through budgeted Oak Lodge and Gladstone Library District funds. No county general funds are involved. Juvenile, approval of a grant agreement number 15662 with the State of Oregon, acting by and through its Department of Education on behalf of the Youth Development Division. This grant is the ongoing biennium allocation for juvenile crime prevention services. The maximum grant value is $475,248 for the 2021-2023 biennium. Funding is through the State of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of an intergovernmental agreement number 14697 with the State of Oregon, acting by and through its Oregon Health Authority to provide funding for juvenile crime prevention basic services and diversion services. This intergovernmental agreement is the ongoing biennium allocation of juvenile crime prevention basic and diversion funding. The maximum contract value is $2,032,788 for the 2021-2023 biennium. Funding is through the State of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Approval of an amendment number 5 to the intergovernmental agreement number 931488 with Metro for litter pickup near the Metro South Transfer Station. This amendment extends the duration of the intergovernmental agreement only. There is no fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. That concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from this consent agenda? Seeing none, Shannon, please call the poll.
Oops.
Excuse me, I need a motion. Got ahead of myself on that.
I
Thank you,
move
Stephen.
for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Scholl has moved for approval of the consent agenda. Commissioner Savas has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Now, Shannon, we can call the poll.
Commissioner Fisher? Aye. Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. I now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and will convene as the Water Environment Services. Gary.
Next is the consent agenda for Water Environment Services. Shannon, would you please read the consent agenda?
Approval of a contract between Water Environment Services and Jacobs Engineering, Inc. for owner representation services of the Tri-City Outfall Project. Total contract value is $462,468, funded through West Capital Improvement Funds. No county general funds are involved. That is the end of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Does any commissioner wish to remove an item off of this consent agenda? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
We move for approval for the Water Environmental Services consent agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Savas has moved for approval, and Commissioner Fisher has moved to second this Water Environment Services consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Shannon, please call the poll.
Commissioner Scholl?
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher? Aye. Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Chair Smith?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. I will now adjourn as a Water Environment Services and reconvene as a Board of County Commissioners. Oh, that was fast, wasn't it? Wow, we're just knocking this out. Up next is public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes, and comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public comment at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. However, we will not be reading them at the business meeting due to time constraints. I will now open public testimony. Of people in the room, come first. I have some blue cards. We have several people wanting to testify. First up is Ken Go. Please come forward, state your name, area of residence, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Ken Go. I live in Oak Grove. I want to thank the commission. I'm going to apologize first because I'm not used to doing this, so I wrote it out. So
Well, that's okay. That's fine.
I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me the opportunity to speak about face masks and mask mandates. I understand the position of those who believe wearing a face mask during the COVID pandemic places a limitation on the rights of individuals. I would say, however, that other members of the community who don't wish to be exposed to COVID also have rights. COVID is a highly transmissible airborne virus. Peer-reviewed studies universally show that wearing a mask inhibits the transmission of a disease that to date has killed 721,000 people in this country. I remind listeners that children and some adults with compromised immune systems are unable to get vaccines, and thus the masks are an important line of defense for them. We give up a number of individual rights in the interest of protecting our neighbors, among them the right to drive at whatever speed we wish on any street we want, the right to enter a restaurant without shirt or shoes, the right to refuse service to people because of their race. I applaud those who support Governor Brown's mask mandate and urge anyone listening both to get vaccinated and to wear masks when indoors in public places until science indicates otherwise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is Keith Johnson. Please come forward, state your name, area of residence, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes, Keith Johnson, Oregon City. I'm here to comment on the vaccine mandate and the employment termination information that I've been hearing. I'm a small business owner here in OC. I own a couple of businesses. It's good to hear from Clackamas that we're at 76% of vaccinated status. That was good to hear. That's not including natural immunity, so I think we're at the herd immunity stage, and that's a good thing. What I've been hearing, though, is the alleged vaccine mandates for private companies coming out of the government. It's all over the news cycles as if it's a law, and it's not. And I have a problem with that because it's basically a mirage. Its so-called vaccine mandate doesn't even exist, at least not yet. So far, all we have is press conferences and other made-for-media stuff. No such rules ever claiming to be legally binding has even been issued yet. No such mandate has been sent to the White House Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. The White House, OSHA, and the Department of Labor haven't released any official guidance for the alleged mandate, so there's no executive order. So right now we have nothing but press statements. Here's a fun fact. There's a couple of dozen attorney generals that are looking to sue the government for unconstitutional, illegal mandates, but they can't because there's no mandate to haul into court. And that may be part of the plan. I don't know what the plan is. It's Orwellian, really. By mandate, they're actually considering, or actually meaning coercion, and by work, they actually mean you have no choice but to do as we say. So there's your choice. Get a vaccine or give up your livelihood. It's ridiculous to me. I won't comply with this. I won't fire anybody for this either. Why are the people who have natural immunity still hounded to take a vaccine? That's irresponsible. The science has proven that natural immunity is better than the vaccine has to offer anyway. That freedom of choice is being snatched away from us by control freaks in the government and the media. Last but not least, why would anyone in any form of government expect people to accept a mandate that's not being mandated for the people who mandated it? Why does Congress and their staff, the judicial branch, the White House, CDC, FDA, NIAID, Pfizer, Moderna, and illegal aliens have a get-out-of-the-vaccine mandate free pass? It's absurd and hypocrisy at the highest order.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
I appreciate your testimony. Up next is Leila Blakely. Please come forward, state your name, area of residence, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for getting my name correct this time.
You know, there's an I in it, and it always throws me off.
I know. I actually went through your packet and read and skimmed through the 714 pages. So
Wow.
I kind of feel for you guys if you actually do read it and go through it. I was concerned about I realize, and you don't need to go to Stephen or Gary to find out for sure, but I already know that these funds say that they're not coming from Clackamas County, but actually these funds really are because they're coming out of our pockets. And so I was just curious, the telepsychiatry one, the increase of suicide hotline is up by 600%. And part of that is because of the COVID and the kids not being able to see each other, to interact, et cetera, et cetera. And so I just kind of wanted to throw that one out there. Another one that just was kind of shocking was the $1,800,000 for the having the CDs or OHA help the Clackamas County give us the jab. I mean, and you're saying again, I see here, not the funds doesn't come out of the general funds, but hey, it's coming out of my pocket. I don't care what anybody else says or thinks. I already know that's where it's coming from. And another one that just really, I just had to laugh. What is this living room for after-school drop-in? I won't continue with that one because I'll probably get kicked out of here, but that one, that is just absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if you're aware that Senator Lithicum and Senator Thatcher have put in a petition to the grand jury investigation regarding the CDC. One of the quotes from Kim was, "Federal agencies like the CDC have committed atrocities in the name of public health, resulting in the extensive collateral damage that transforms society in ways that we are still grappling to understand." And we're, as public, we are trying to understand what in the heck is going on here with these stupid masks and the stupid jabs that don't work. I haven't had one, and so if you're afraid to be around me, so be it, because I have been in crowds of 500 to 1,000. I've been in enclosed rooms for banquets, for fundraisers, for this, for that, for the last year or so, and I'm not saying that it's not real. I know it's real because my friends have gotten it, but I think it should be a choice. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't, you don't have to. So I think that we just need to take a stand instead of letting the governor run our county. I think you as a commissioner group need to run our county. And I think also, I just can't believe the expenditures that Gary read them, and it's just, I cannot believe how much money is going out for, because you want to be politically correct. Where's the money going for the other people that really should be receiving it? The hard workers that go in every day to work, 8 hours a day plus, and their children they're not seeing this $414,000 for a living room after school. So why are you proving stuff like this? I don't understand it. You need to start looking at the people that are paying your paychecks, because a lot of them are going to be losing their jobs in a couple days. And I'm just wondering why we're doing that as well.
Thank you very much. Up next is Les Poole. Please come forward, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Chair Smith for scheduling evening meetings again. It really helps. Thank you. 3 quick subjects, and the first one is near and dear to me as a transportation professional, and that is tolling. The public is now discovering what I've been ranting and raving about for the last 2 years, an issue that Commissioner Savas has been deeply involved in, and that is the plan for the state of Oregon to charge tolls for us to use existing freeway lanes and not put that money into the freeway. Instead, that money goes into this vague slush fund. And it's currently undergoing a process where we have a 2-year test of the system being installed. And of course, ODOT hopes after that to have a permanent ability to charge us to use existing lanes and charge more during peak traffic times. So the lady that just spoke that referred to who's paying for it and who's taking it in the shorts, it's the working person. I encourage folks to look into the issue, and we have a petition pending right now with the Secretary of State to require a vote. So you'll be hearing more. Last week I brought up an important thing, and that is sometimes we wonder, why does something rise to the level of the agenda or generate a lot of interest when other things sometimes don't get addressed or maybe don't get the attention they should. And I referenced the dramatic overkill and the responses we get every time Commissioner Scholl says or does anything. We get some interesting interpretations and writings and whatnot about what he's done or said. And that always rises to the agenda, rises politically in the room, and yet that has very little to do with what we face. We're in trouble out there, folks, and we know it. I hope Commissioner Fisher heard that. She's typing again. The last topic is, of course, a very passionate request that you folks this evening go back and put the resolution in support of the public workers that are going to lose their jobs on Monday. The resolution was tabled. It's been vetted, and a motion to put it out this evening for a vote, I believe, would be in order.
Thank you very
We
much.
have until Monday to act. Thank you, folks.
Shannon, that's all of the cards I have for in-person testimony. Do you have some folks online?
I do have a list.
Okay, go ahead, please start.
First up is Chris Waller. Chris, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Chris Waller, Jennings Lodge. On Tuesday, you briefly discussed the possibility of refugees from Afghanistan arriving in Clackamas County. Some of you pointed out the benefits that refugees bring to their communities, like a skilled workforce. I was born in Portland, but my parents moved when I was young to a city called El Cajon in San Diego County. The El Cajon of my childhood was not a diverse community. There were no more than a handful of black students at my high school, plus a few refugees from Vietnam. This changed dramatically in the late 1980s when Chaldean refugees from the Iran-Iraq War began to settle in El Cajon. Over the years, they were joined by refugees and immigrants from Syria and Afghanistan. Today, more than 15,000 Chaldeans and thousands of other immigrants live in El Cajon. The manufacturing and industrial area of El Cajon is the single most job center in the entire East County, San Diego region. Main Street in El Cajon is lined for miles with small family businesses, restaurants, retail stores, galleries, offices. Small markets offer a rainbow of produce and goods from around the world with signs in Arabic, English, and Spanish. 42% of all new businesses in California are started by immigrants and refugees. We should be searching for ways to ensure that if any of the 180 Afghan refugees that are coming to Oregon settle in Clackamas County, we welcome them with open arms. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, a start for this would be for the board to pass a resolution, as Multnomah County, Portland, and Beaverton have already done, stating that these refugees are welcome here in our communities. I emailed you all copies of these resolutions 2 weeks ago, and I hope you've had time to review them and consider how you can craft such a resolution for Clackamas County. This is a simple step that you can take to build community in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Shannon?
Next is Bill Weir. Bill, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair Smith and Commissioners. Bill Ware, Damascus.
Turn it up a little.
I think it's important that you as a commission take an interest in what the people bring before you. But over time this year, mostly what citizens bring before you are not responded to or will be countered as absurd without the citizen being able to respond. I'd like to mention a few areas that have come up, some more than once. Early in the year, several citizens, including myself, asked that the county website be edited to make it more user-friendly. Of particular concern is the lack of posting of Zoom meetings by various committees. Certain committees, such as VAC and LEDIC, appear to be cells that promote political ideology and should be open for public awareness as to how their tax money is being spent. As of now, I don't see this has been addressed. The other is the tabling of the resolution to protect the rights of county employees brought up a few weeks ago. This was written as minimally as possible to be able to pass on to the commission, hopefully to avoid a crisis. The tabling was more than a power play slap in the face of the chair. It sent a signal to the citizens that you will not protect us from the subjective excesses of the governor. Right now in Colorado, University of Colorado Health has removed an unvaxxed kidney transplant patient from its waiting list. In New Jersey, the NEA and the American Federation of Teachers has developed a program to demand the vaccine statuses of students and their parents. Leaked emails from Pfizer show that the company tried to hide the fact that aborted fetal tissue was used in the development of their vaccine after continually denying it. On October 4th, The U.S. Attorney General issued a memo categorizing parents expressing anger at school officials over vaccine requirements, masks, and critical race theory as racist. The FBI will be dispatched to local law enforcement to enforce the policy. One could say, well, that's not Oregon. However, these states are as blue politically as Oregon. Only last year, the governor wanted us to snitch on our neighbors if we saw a large amount of cars at the home celebrating Thanksgiving. Is it even remotely possible that you as commissioners would fight for our rights? There's a saying, people don't care what you know, they just want to know that you care. Thank you.
Gary, would you address the website issue that Mr. Ware referred to?
Yes, and I appreciate this feedback. We did hear this feedback, and our staff has updated the advisory boards and commissions webpage. I'm looking at it right now. We have added the roster of committee members, bylaws as appropriate, and copies of the video of Zoom meetings recently. I'm looking at the Veterans Advisory Committee. There are videos posted. Granted, it doesn't appear the last month has been posted, so I'll make sure that's done as soon as possible. But we did hear the feedback, and we've accommodated and done that, so thank you.
Thank you.
We're on
Isn't
board.
there a lag time, by the time this meeting is on Zoom, there's a lag time by the time it gets on our website, just for processing and so forth? Is that right?
It takes a day or two, yes.
I think it takes a day or two, so if somebody is waiting to listen to this meeting, the current meeting right now, for instance, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., it may not be on the website yet. Okay, Commissioner Savas, you're up.
Yeah, just to complete the circle here, just want to ask Mr. Madcore if the resolution that was spoken to tonight that we had a couple weeks ago, if by passing that, does that alleviate or take away any mandates from the state, or is the state mandate still in effect for all the people in Clackamas County, businesses, the county, and otherwise?
Commissioner, the state mandate would still be in effect regardless of what type of resolution this board passed.
Okay, thank you.
Shannon up next.
Up next is Yvonne Lazarus. Yvonne, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Paul, I can't believe that you asked him that. And what you did shows caring. You didn't only throw Tootie and Mark under the bus. You threw all the people that work. Not that she would have done anything for us, but it would have showed that you're behind us. And it doesn't show that at all. I'm telling you, I'm making a list and I'm going to be checking it twice. The time's coming up that there's going to be voting. And I don't know, I feel sad. I feel sad that that resolution was tabled, and you should vote on it. It's what the county wants. The other thing is our rights are being taken from us, and you know they are. I don't know what to do about it. I wish someone had the insight. That's really all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon, who's up next?
Next up is Christine Kennedy. Christine, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Christine Kennedy. I'm a retired nurse, worked both as a staff nurse and in leadership positions for about 45 years. I live in Lake Oswego. The pandemic is still a serious issue. I understand that some people are really entrenched in their beliefs, and it does distress me to hear misinformation being shared in this meeting this evening. I like to stick to facts. During this last surge, Oregon has now slipped 2 spots, and so we're now, there are 5 states that have a lower death rate than we do. And that's very serious. And, you know, we need to just maintain the work that we're doing, continue with the work on vaccination. My condolences to the loved ones of the 13 people in Clackamas County who died in the last week from COVID. It's really a sobering thought. 13 of our fellow people in Clackamas County died of COVID. Half of those were preventable. Congratulations to Philip Mason Joyner and the public health staff for gaining additional funding to achieve and assure more equitable distribution of the vaccination to vulnerable groups. We're proud of our 76%, but I think it is important to drill down, identify areas that are low in their vaccination rates, because like politics, this pandemic is local. Higher rates in a community, that's positive. It's going to protect that community more. Unfortunately, the info on natural immunity is still out. That's still a debate. There hasn't really been conclusions drawn from that. I do want to say that the suicide hotline is a wonderful, wonderful resource for our community. And yes, we don't like to see the numbers go up in terms of people using it, but that also means that people are using the service, and that's what we want. It's important to provide people support during these difficult times. And I just want to remind everybody, the virus is the enemy. I'm not the enemy. You're not my enemy. We need to be careful and take care of one another. Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon, who's up next?
Chair, that is the end of my list.
Oh, thank you very much. Gary, it's time for good news.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, County Administrator update. I'd like to share good things happening here in Clackamas County with our employees and our programs. First, Clackamas County Water Environment Services is one of 4 organizations nationwide, only 4, to receive a prestigious Water Heroes Award from the Water Environment Federation. This award recognizes municipalities who performed above and beyond the usual call of duty during an emergency situation to protect public health and the environment. Water Environment Services was honored for its response to this past February's ice storm here in our region, during which Water Environment Services employees overcame many obstacles for nearly 2 weeks to maintain wastewater treatment services for 200,000 customers. WES employees worked around the clock to keep our facilities working and the pump stations running. During this event, there was not a single bypass, no sewer overflows, no permit violations, no missed compliance samples, and staff responded to more than 1,000 alarms without a single failure. So thank you to our incredible WES staff, and the WES Director Greg Geist will be receiving the award on behalf of the WES and Clackamas County next week.
Excellent, thank you.
Also, Christina McMahon, our Juvenile Department Director, was just elected the President-elect of the Oregon Juvenile Department Directors Association. So she will be representing our state in that role. And Commissioners, I want to thank you for allowing me to attend the International City County Management Association Conference, which was held in Portland last week. This is a gathering of over 5,000 city managers and county administrators across the United States and the world. It's an international association, but most are members here in the United States. And it's a chance for those leaders to learn from each other and learn about what other jurisdictions are doing to see what we can do even better in our own jurisdictions. And as I attended sessions, I was very proud and impressed that many of the innovative things I heard we were already doing here at Clackamas County, such as you have a strategic plan that is throughout our entire organization. Every department has a plan. The county has a plan. Those plans are aligned. Not many cities or counties do that. We do that. Our finances, we have good financial health. We are a AAA bond-rated organization. Not many local governments receive that rating, but we've had it for over 4 years. Our employee engagement is way above what other cities and counties are doing. Our broadband programs, many cities and counties are not even close to what we are already doing with our Clackamas Broadband Exchange. Public-private partnerships are the new way of doing business and constructing capital projects. We are about to undertake that with our new courthouse. So I want to say thank you, Commissioners. You exhibit incredible leadership by the decisions and policy actions you make, and I think you have awesome staff that help implement those directions. So thank you for letting me attend the conference, and I was just very impressed by the really innovative things we do here at Clackamas County. Thank you, Commissioners.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that, Gary. I kind of think we are somewhat innovative myself, but that's really nice. Now on to Commissioner Communication. First, Commissioner Schrader from afar. Tell us where you're at.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, at the Western Interstate Conference of the National Association of Counties. And this is all the western states, pretty much, from the Mississippi border on to the Pacific Ocean that get together every year to discuss issues of importance to those of us in the West. I've attended meetings on fire resiliency, which is something that is very critically important to our county. I've attended policy sessions on childcare and how across the Western region, not just across the United States, that in order to have a strong workforce, we have to have options for parents to have the childcare they need in order to return to work and work towards prosperity. So I'll be bringing a tremendous amount of information back about that piece. I've also had an opportunity to attend a broadband conversation to take a look at how our rural counties, and we are rural, urban, suburban, and frontier, so we kind of fit the bill for both, but how our rural counties are actually working to expand broadband throughout their rural areas where there's no access. And it's important for the businesses community in our small communities. It's important for the school children. It's important for the districts. And I will bring back lots of information about what other people are doing in order to push that initiative forward. And finally, one of the things that we have been asked to do as counties across the Western region and across the United States is this. Our president, Larry Johnson, who's an absolutely fantastic president from DeKalb County, Georgia, basically has asked us to come up with our stories with how we are implementing ARPA dollars, how we are innovating, how we are helping our constituents thrive. And I would very much like to talk to the commission when I get back to tell our story about how we are doing wraparound services for the homeless. As you know, we've been rolling this out incrementally. And I believe that the way we're doing it can be a larger county story for the nation. And I think so because we are trying to balance the funding with what we can roll out logistically. And I want to actually give Commissioner Savas a shout out for this because it has been his, in my opinion, his acumen with numbers, with policy, with working with our chief financial officer that is moving us towards where we need to be, not just immediately in the short term, but what will give us a sustainable 10-year program. So when I come back, I am going to ask the permission of my colleagues that we tell that story. I would like to get that story out to our advocates who are working with this as well. And I'd also like to get that information out to all our city partners who are watching us as we commit ourselves to wraparound services for the homeless. We have a narrative to tell. We have a narrative of how we're doing it responsibly. We have a narrative of how we're doing it in a way that is fiscally responsible for long-term sustainability. And I believe that conversation is something we should be sharing with our national comrades who are the counties across this nation that are essentially making our nation great and making us be stellar governments, helping our constituents, helping our residents, and really providing all the services that we need. So with that, Chair, I am going to sign off a little early. I have a last few meetings to go to, and I want to thank all of you, all of my colleagues, for allowing me to be here as your representative. We are going to need someone to represent us in beginning of December at the large Urban County Caucus. That's going to be held, I believe in Colorado. Or actually, no, I think it may be in Georgia, but that's something I would like to see one of our colleagues go to keep us up to speed on how innovative we are compared to the rest of the nation as an innovative county that's got it all. So thank you, Chair. Thank you, colleagues. I'm going to sign off, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week. And I am bringing back a lot of materials for all of us that we can read so we can continue and innovate and be the best county we can be. So,
Martha, before you leave, we'll put some time on the Tuesday agenda for you to make a presentation and update your colleagues on the good work you're doing. How's that?
Well, I want to thank you for that, Chair, because it is important. Every time we go to a national conference, whether it's me or someone else, we really learn across the United States how critical counties are. We are the most functional form of government. I think that that is out there. I think cities are a functional form. We're the ones on the ground that get the work going.
Yeah.
So I will be glad to give a presentation, and thank you so much, all.
Yeah, thank you, Martha.
Great. All right, good night, everyone.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Schrader. Up next, Commissioner Savas.
Thank you. Today, we approved in our consent agenda $1.7 million out of the Housing Authority, but we also approved shortly after that, just in Health and Human Services, over $5 million worth of contracts and services, most of which is supported by federal and state grants and funding that otherwise not utilizing would go to other states, other counties, other communities, and so forth. So those are our contracts, dollars, so forth, to be used here in the county for the citizens of this county that need it. A lot of that, some of that, goes for services that are for people that are either houseless or near houseless or need services that are not mentioned and are not often spoken to, which we have done for years. And I know that we have spoken, Administrator Schmidt, about how we message that it's not all about the supportive housing services or dollars we didn't get or we don't have, but some of the services we provide that are not supportive housing services funded. So I think we need to get that word out so people understand that we're not limited to just those dollars. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the delay. The delays in the funding and the delays especially in something I think, granted, I'm not an attorney, and granted, I know that contracts are complex, but we've had months and the lawyers have had months and months and months to work with Metro to try to get this supportive housing services IGA in place. And I want to applaud the counties, the county attorneys, and all the folks involved with that. We know there was a mediation here a couple, 3 weeks ago in which a neutral judge was mediating for 2 days to come to agreement. This agreement was supposed to be done in June. Then it was going to be kicked. We'll have it by July or August, and then it was going to be we'll have it by September, and have it by October, and I don't know when we're going to have it. But it is holding up actually our ability, number one, to have the guidance to properly spend the dollars, and secondly, our ability to tap more resources, from Metro to advance, if that is indeed what we do. So for those out there that want to see Clackamas County do more, contact Metro and see if we can urge them to stop blocking or slowing down this process. I do know that all the counties, the 3 counties involved in this, are scratching their head and wondering why, not very happy. Maybe Chair Smith could speak to that a little bit, but this is ridiculous. And it just astonishes me that something that was supposed to be done in June is still not done today. That's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Up next, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Another busy week that we've all worked. It's always amazing how quickly Thursday comes. I just want to share with my colleagues, and I wish Commissioner Schrader was still on the call, but I'll catch up with her later. Following up with we had the town hall on childcare. I'm working with Kimberly DeSantis, and through my position with the National Association of Counties as the chair of the Children and Family Subcommittee to get together with our national partners and look at strategizing how to push this issue nationally as well as here locally. We really will not have an ability to recover our economy and our businesses to thrive if we don't figure this out. It's really, we know the stories anecdotally about how challenging it is for people who want to return to work to do so with the lack of childcare resources. So I know Commissioner Schrader is really passionate about that. We will work together, I'm sure, and bring back what we learned to our commission for more discussion. And then the other issue that I've been working on, and again, I have to say thank you to Kimberly DeSantis, who's just been awesome. She is so in the weeds on what's happening in our schools in regards to kids and quarantining and COVID and all of those moving parts. And so we're really tracking what are other options that we can advocate for, because we know that as a commission, the Oregon Health Authority sets the guidelines. Our public health authority can do stricter guidelines, but they cannot do less. So as we find a way to get further along in this pandemic, there are other options that might be available, such as shorter quarantine times as someone has been exposed with the addition of testing. And we all know that testing supplies there's not enough. We don't have enough from the federal government. But it has concerned me throughout this pandemic, and I know Paul's heard it from the very beginning, and then as Commissioner Scholl and Chair Smith have joined us, you've continued to hear it. I've been very concerned about how this pandemic has affected our children, and I really have joined all of us in being a voice for having our kids being in school, supported, and it just really bothers me a lot. So working on that from all angles, and if there is a way, an effective way that is in accordance with public health for us to advocate for something different, I will also be bringing that to our commission to have that voice. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Fisher. Up next, Commissioner Scholl.
Yes, good evening, Clackamas County. On keeping our county clean, one of the big economic development attractions in this county is that it's a beautiful place. We need to keep our eye on keeping Clackamas County clean and safe. The county protocol for roadside debris, vegetation, and dumping cleanup is to contact the Transportation Maintenance Division at roadconcerns@clackamas.us. They'll look into it and take care of it. If it's a problem on private property, that is a violation, potentially, of the Solid Waste Management Code. In that case, you need to notify code enforcement. They'll look into it, take care of it. The county Adopt a Road program is up and going. And if you're interested, send an email to adoptarode@clackamas.us. Your help is very important. Clackamas County's got to stay clean, and trash we cannot tolerate. We cannot tolerate for one day for this county to look like our neighbor to the north. I'm sorry to say that, but we cannot. On ending homelessness, I want to thank Dan Fowler from the Homeless Solutions Coalition of Clackamas County for a very informative Zoom here a couple days ago. We heard from nonprofits and also from Clackamas County staff who work to alleviate homelessness and bring a little bit of peace and comfort to some people who are suffering. We got a lot of work to do, but Clackamas County and our nonprofit partners are doing tremendous work. And I'm really impressed at the compassion that I see in Clackamas County when it comes to feeding the hungry and assisting the homeless. One of the things we need to look at now is how we're going to ensure our fiscal sustainability when it comes to dealing with homeless people. I think Commissioner Savas mentioned it, and also Commissioner Schrader did too. We need to look at making sure that a year, 3 years, and 5 years from now, whatever we come up with, we can sustain. On public health, just a few days ago, the governor of Texas issued an executive order that banned any vaccine mandates in that state from any government entity or any private employer. Now, the sovereignty of the individual and the concept of natural God-given rights must be respected in Oregon also. Taking a vaccine shot must never be forced or coerced, nor should anyone be terminated from employment for not taking a vaccine. We cannot afford to lose even one more healthcare worker or public safety worker. Right now, Oregon is 15,000 healthcare workers short, and we're soon to be short on police officers as well. If you live in Clackamas County and you're looking at a new career, please consider a career in Clackamas County in healthcare. So finally, I just want to say that we as a people need to be aware of our environment. We must keep ourselves and our families safe, but we cannot live another day in fear. Life is a challenge. It's always been that way. But we have the opportunity each day to live, maybe to love, and enjoy this life in this county, and we must do it with no more fear. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Scholl. This week on Monday, I had the opportunity to meet with a county's internal auditor, and we now have 2 of those. And our internal auditor not only looks at finances in certain departments, but any other areas of risk that will keep us in performing our duties and offering services to our citizens. I always enjoy that because we get to look at the numbers and the processes and the theories and the philosophies around how to make our government better. Today, I had the opportunity to speak at the Portland Business Alliance Leadership Training Institute, where about 30 attendees was a Zoom meeting. I spoke along with the chairs of the other 2 counties, Deborah Kafori from Multnomah and Catherine Harrington from Washington County, and myself about leadership and how you do it and what it means and our general philosophy surrounding that. And it was a good opportunity to highlight the important work that counties do. And during this time of COVID, one of the overall themes is people have realized, if this is a silver lining, how important county government is to its people. And I'm not sure that there was a connection with many of them before that. I want to talk about an issue that has been alluded to here tonight. Commissioner Savas adroitly commented on how much money we are spending on the homeless situation. As you know, a while back, there was a ballot measure that supported housing services. It was a tri-county vote from Metro. And it passed in 2 other counties, and it failed in Clackamas County. Our citizens voted no because of various reasons. Basically, it's a payroll tax, a business tax. But because we are tied to Metro as an overlying governance, and it passed in the other 2 counties, by the way, Washington County was about 51.5%, it barely passed in Washington County, we are bound by that measure. Okay, moving forward, revenues were supposed to come in as of July of around $32 million, and they did not come in. So we're waiting for the revenues to come in before we pay for the services. However, the other 2 counties have decided to borrow money. One county has borrowed against their reserves. Their budget is also upside down, and their budget is currently in a deficit. The other county borrowed likewise from another fund that they have. But in Multnomah County, you have to remember they pass taxes at the drop of a hat. In Clackamas County, we don't do that. In Clackamas County, we do not spend money until we have it in our hand. And there's been a lot of pressure from an organization called Here Together, who was the political arm who convinced enough people to pass this homeless services measure. And there are many nonprofits who are pushing this commission to spend money that we don't have. And those nonprofits are the ones that will benefit from providing the services. Those nonprofits do very good work. But they also, this argument or this situation has turned so ugly and so political that 2 of my really good commissioners have been just brutally attacked and threatened by this very organization that passed this ballot measure, and it's unseemly and it's disgusting. So as your leader of this county, we will maintain that we do not spend any money that we don't have. We do not have $24 million sitting around that we can spend on homeless services with the hope that Metro might collect enough taxes to reimburse us. That is not how solid business is conducted. Commissioner Savas adroitly said tonight, of the $24 million we have received, what, $400,000? Is that right?
$414,000.
$414,000. We have so much money coming in and going out on these services. So I'm sorry that that we're in this situation of not being able to help as many people as some other people think that we should, but we're doing the best we can in our county with the homeless situation. We have been bargaining in good faith with the attorneys, have been writing up what we call an IGA, an intergovernment agreement to govern how we move forward. And the 3 chairs, I call them tri-chairs, we meet every week, and we are very much in line with following the ballot language that was passed in this initiative, and that was to provide homeless services and wraparound services. However, there are some Metro councilors that want to take that money and use it for only sheltering in Portland. Just shelters, and that sheltering we don't think is a solution to the homeless problem. So right now we're at loggerheads, but we will work this out because that's what we're supposed to do. And as chair and as my commissioners here on this panel are working to make sure that Clackamas County is kept as a sovereign government as we move forward in some of the most difficult times. So if you have any questions on this, you can contact me at the office or email me. And I felt an explanation was in order. And we are working on this situation as we are working on many other situations that won't be cured overnight. But we are dedicated, and we have a wonderful dedicated staff that is working to move this forward. But again, I will reiterate, we will not spend money that we don't have, and we cannot borrow money on a promise that Metro might collect the taxes and then send it to us. Thank you very much. With that in mind, we are adjourned.